Welcome, everyone, to the Retro Wrestling Review Series. I know I said in the last video that was going to be the last Retro of the year. I did this big thing like, thank you, everyone, for watching all the Retros. I did a big speech about it. Well, that changed in 24 hours. Less than 24 hours, actually, because I'm on the Birdman Finch and making his long-awaited return to the channel. I always forget you did a video this year. I just wasn't on it. But yeah, Ken Tut, John Tutty. You have so many nicknames. I don't know which one you have, which one you want to use anymore. But
we'll stick with the King. We'll stick with King. How about that? We'll stick with the class.
But yeah, welcome back. It's been a while since I've done a video. I always say I hope you're not rusty, and then you end up like surprising me and knocking it out of the park when it comes to the video. So it's like, you know, but how's life been treating you? And you know, what's been going on?
It's been treating me well. You know. Getting ready for the wedding and obviously the holiday season coming up, and in my line of work, that's the busiest season of the year. So
yeah. So yeah, happy to have you on. You're on that Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns schedule now, where you're part time. You show up. I don't even know if you're on like an Undertaker WrestleMania schedule now. Actually, I think like when he was up. Yeah. So, you know. Hey, you know, Undertaker, when he showed up once a year, was always the best match at WrestleMania. Maybe it could be the best video on this channel. So it's like, you know.
Exactly. I say save the best for me. That's everyone pays to see me.
Too bad we don't make any money from this because you know.
Exactly.
But yeah, we have a retro we're gonna do. This is actually fitting though, because typically, I don't know if you've noticed, we'll try to fit in a retro now, theming it with whatever pay-per-view's coming up or whatever time of the year or month it is. And you picked a pretty good time because it's December, and even though Armageddon's not really a pay-per-view anymore, but it used to be a pay-per-view that would happen in December. And weirdly enough, I mean, had we waited a week to actually record this, and we did it next week, it would have been like the 16th anniversary of this show, because it took place on December 16th, 2007. But it's the Armageddon 2007. You know, what's made you want to kind of pick this show? You know, usually if it's somebody else's pick, I kind of say why they picked it. So what made you kind of want to pick Armageddon 2007?
So 2007 was the first year I was fully watching wrestling. And, you know, yeah, it's kind of like what you said. Like, it's December. This is around this time where Armageddon actually happened. I think this is a kind of an underrated gem for that year. Like, you have, I want to say about 2 really good matches on here. And the rest is kind of meh with one bad. Which for a B pay-per-view is a solid show. And, yep, I can probably recite these storylines backwards. That's how nostalgic I am for this time.
Maybe instead of me doing the storyline breakdowns, I have you doing them, just to kind of see like what your memory of this is too.
See what I get.
But yeah, so a new thing I do for this show now is I kind of talk about what the state of wrestling was like, whatever time period we do the retro for. I'll kind of keep it quick because I've done it a lot for 2007.
Oh my God, bro. Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man? How did this get your ass?
And then New Japan was kind of finally breaking out of that Inokiism where, like, you know, Antonio Inoki wanted everyone to be like an MMA fighter. But this was kind of like when... Oh, Waziro, what's up? This is the person that produces our show now.
What's up?
This is a big thing that he does.
No one is safe from the path now.
You gotta get off though. You're messing up the recording. You're all off screen now and everything like that.
That was the point. But yeah.
Enjoy.
Well.
All right, there you go. We're back on camera. I wonder how he's gonna edit that when he gets to this part of the video. Yeah, you bet Zio now for the first time. That's you know. You didn't really get an introduction because that's kind of that's his introduction. He just shows up. So you know. Going through this show,
Slightly pulling themselves up.
you know, I mentioned the date. Let me just make sure I know the venue. The venue with it, and this was a double branded pay per view. You know, WWE had broken the mold. This was not the first full year, but this was kind of like when they started just having all the shows be triple branded, just because you know, obviously, they tried single branded pay per views and they started not doing as well because they couldn't find the star power anymore. So it was all triple branded pay per views. The date we already, yeah. Well, there was one more actually because New Year's Revolution had a Raw one.
December,
that's because it was already advertised, so that's why they didn't do that. So, yeah. And then the city of the show was Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. The venue was the Mellon Arena, which is now known as the Civic Arena. I don't know why they changed it, but they did. The attendance was 12,500 people. Again, they probably scrounge the numbers because, you know, that's what WWE does. And then the buy rate was 200,037 buys. Let me say that again. 237,000 buys. There you go. I got that out there. Now, I've been having people guess, without looking it up, can you guess what the tagline for the pay-per-view was? It's the most devastating wars are fought over championship.
Generic.
That was the tagline.
The end is near. Something like that. Or... Yeah,
and plus too, like this, especially too, because there's been a lot of wars that's happened in WWE that wasn't even over championship gold. So I don't understand. That's kind of a weird tagline, but whatever, you know. Well, they couldn't get every title on the show because then that would have ruined Night of Champions.
2, 3, only 4 titles. They had like 13.
Yeah, we'll get to that later. Yeah, going through the pay-per-view, and again, I'm going to let you do all the storyline breakdowns. On the commentary team, on call, for the Raw brand was Jerry the King Lawler and Jim Ross. For the SmackDown brand was JBL and Michael Cole. And for the ECW brand was Taz and Joey Styles. Yeah, this was at the time where they would have all 3 commentary tables. They didn't like cycle them out or anything like that, like they do nowadays. So some people, it'd be so weird. It's kind of so weird watching this because the WWE would change this later on. Because some people just sit there and don't say a word like while the matches are going on. You know.
Their mics are on mute. They're probably just crapping all over the show.
Yeah.
Joey Styles, which will.
And he's just sitting there the rest of the show.
He's got an early night tonight. He's only getting 1 match.
And Taz has 2 matches, so he had to stick around till the main event. So, other things for this show, the Spanish commentators with Carlos Cabrera and Hugo Savinovich. I always enjoy hearing them, even though I don't understand them. The interviewers were Todd Grisham and Anastasia Ross, but she doesn't show up. She must have done like an exclusive or something like that on the show because I never saw her. So, the ring announcers for Raw was Lillian Garcia. For SmackDown was Justin Roberts, and for ECW was Tony Chimmel. Even though there's some matches that Justin Roberts ring announced, and I always like Tony Chimmel. But there's some some matches though that like Justin Roberts ring announces. And they're Raw matches, so I don't understand what happened there. So I don't know. And then the referees were Charles Robertson, Mike Chioda, Jimmy Corderas, Mickey Henson, Scott Armstrong, Marty Elias, and Chad Patton. We've done career retrospectives for everybody that we just talked about, except for some of the referees. But one of them doesn't even have a Wikipedia page, so I can't look it up. So, But yeah, let's just start talking about this show. It's sort of really nice intro, talking about, the quest for war and how the end is near and everything like that. Mainly advertising for Chris Jericho and Randy Orton title match they had coming up, and the triple threat match for the World Heavyweight Championship. It sucks, though. I assume that you didn't watch this on the Peacock version. You probably have this on DVD somewhere. You watched this on the Peacock version. Whatever the pay-per-view theme song was, you didn't get. They dubbed it over with Nunzio's theme song, actually. Is actually what they dub it over with, which is pretty funny. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's just...
Maybe,
it's
I don't think
just
they...
the end of the
yeah,
end.
it's just
usually the
interesting.
theme song
But,
for
yeah, we
Armageddon.
had
Usually
the
end.
opener, which, I'll let you break down the feud, see what you know. It was for the United States Championship. It was MVP defending against Rey Mysterio. Wanted to break down like how we kind of got here with MVP and Rey Mysterio.
So MVP is coming off the tag team I'm Better Than You feud with Matt Hardy because Matt Hardy blew out his knee. So they need to scramble to find a new opponent. I think they had like this ceremony on SmackDown, celebrate MVP as like a great United States champion. Rey Mysterio came out and said, "You're disrespectful, rude, and not a good champion." And thus, we have the United States Championship between MVP and Ray. I think Ray was off his feud with Finley.
Yeah, definitely.
And he was kind of twisting around.
And
until he finally found something.
I'm pretty sure for one of the segments I remember they brought out Michael P.S. Hayes to kind of do that, and MVP laid him out, and then Ray kind of stuck up for him there. I'm pretty sure there's a match they have on SmackDown a few weeks ago where MVP beat him by cheating too, is what I remember. And yeah, we had this match here. I think MVP, up until some of the other U.S. champions, was probably, at least in my era, like the greatest U.S. champion who always he was the longest reigning up until 2014, like WWE U.S. champion. He defended his title fairly regularly. He always had feuds. You felt like he was gonna really break out into like the main event. Like this title reign was because that's how it used to work. It was meant to set up you're gonna be a main eventer, so we're gonna give you this U.S. title program. Except after he loses it goes backwards. But yeah, we had this match. This match is really good.
Hey.
MVP, though, I have to say, had this do-rag in the match. He was wearing it over his... I mean, that's what a do-rag is. But eventually it starts falling off, and eventually it just comes off during the match, which was pretty funny. Yeah. But yeah, I thought this match was really good. Rey Mysterio did a lot of really quick offense in the beginning. He does this really cool thing where he goes to hit a dive on MVP. And the ref stops him because he was on the outside and he was grabbing the ropes. And I guess that's a rope break. You can't attack him, even though I've never known that to be a rule, but I guess it was that time. And then Ray, MVP lets go, so Ray ends up hitting the dive anyways, which was pretty cool. MVP sends Ray back first into the ring post, and he dominates Rey Mysterio. He really goes after the back. He does a really cool face buster where he drives his knee into Rey Mysterio's face. He picks up Rey Mysterio in a fireman's carry position, and he does like a gorilla press slam with him, which was pretty cool. Eventually, Ray mounts a comeback. He hits a really cool dive. He hits a West Coast pop, a springboard splash, a springboard senton, which is pretty cool because Ray can't really... I mean, now he has been, but, he can't... Later on, he wouldn't be able to do these moves just because, of his knee surgeries and everything like that. Eventually, MVP hits the player's boot in the corner, but he doesn't get the victory. Yeah. They fight to the outside, and Rey Mysterio hits a West Coast pop from the... not a West Coast pop, I've seen it senton from the outside. And at one point, I forgot to mention, Ray, I think, messes up. He legitimately slips on the ropes, and I don't think he blew out his knee, but you could tell his knee was affected just because, he legitimately slips and lands one on his knee, but he was able to finish the match anyways. But Ray hits a Cena senton from the apron. They both get into the ring, and MVP, it's the count's at 7, and he realizes, that he doesn't need to get back in the ring, so he just basically takes a walk. He loses by count out. And Rey Mysterio wins, but he doesn't get the title because, as you know, a championship in WWE can't change hands off a count out or disqualification. Rey gets upset about this. He attacks MVP, lays him out with the 619. Yeah, thought this was a really good match here. I gave it 3.5 stars. Really good back and forth match. The thing that ruined it is I didn't like the finish too much. I really would have preferred, obviously, MVP win, but he wins by cheating just because I thought that was kind of weak. Especially, too, because they do another non-finish later in the show, which kind of affects it. So it's like, I would have preferred MVP actually get a nice victory over Rey Mysterio. I don't think it would have hurt way too much. But, yeah, overall, how do you feel about this match and your star rating and everything like that?
Yeah. I thought this was a really good opener. Rey's a really good wrestler. MVP's a really good wrestler. The things that I don't like, and this is a general criticism of MVP's U.S. title reign as a whole itself, is I didn't like the finish.
Yep.
Like, half of his title defenses ended in countout. Like, he had one at Cyber Sunday against Kane that ended by countout. Got this one here, it ends by countout. He doesn't defend the U.S. title again until he loses it to Matt Hardy in April. Yeah, I mean, in between, he had a match against Flair at the Rumble, which was a threatening match.
There was one more time.
And he was in the chamber.
I know it's random, but you know me, I remember random stuff like this. There's a no-holds-barred match he has with Batista, where he defended the title, I think that was a title match. So, but that wasn't until, like... That wasn't until March though, so that's still a while. So
all right, I'll take your word for it. I can remember it. Yeah, and obviously he had the heart condition in the middle, so that he wasn't going to be defending the title. That's why they put the tag titles on him and Matt. I thought this was good. I know they're building Rey up because he's going to be challenging for the title next month.
Yeah.
So maybe they didn't want to give him a clean loss on pay-per-view. Maybe that's what they're thinking. I don't know. But overall, I'll give it 3 stars. It would be higher if it got a definitive end. And obviously, you said earlier, not to spoil for later, but they're going to do this finish again, where a championship.
And it's really tough to because at the time also, by the way, too, this is pre-network / Peacock, so people are chiming in like $50. Just for a non-finish type of thing. It's not the best idea. I think, too, what it sucks about this, too, they do these finishes, and then there's no rematch afterwards. Like, MVP and Rey don't have a rematch on SmackDown or anything like that, either. So it's like, yeah.
Nope, they move on. So Rey faces Edge at the Rumble, and MVP, like I said, faces Flair.
And if they want to have Rey take a clean loss, they could have just had MVP win dirty. I don't think that would have hurt way too much too. So,
yeah, like a holding the tights or holding the ropes and stealing one. Yeah.
So then Jeff Hardy gets interviewed.
I'd rather that than having another count.
He's talking about how because he's facing Triple H for the #1 contendership for the WWE Championship, and he talks about how. He's looking forward to this match because this is the closest that he's ever come to competing for the title, which I think Jeff Hardy's memory is a little short because he's fought actually for the championship before. So, yeah, so it's like...
Yes, I could give you... He fought The Undertaker for the undisputed title in a ladder match.
I know, but... Again, I think Jeff had taken so much substances, maybe it wiped it from his memory. So, yeah, he talks about how he wants to defeat Triple H tonight, and he talks about a lot of people think that he's the underdog, but tonight he can't be stopped. This promo was okay, but if you watch, I don't know if you've seen how often you've seen this promo. Jeff, I think, forgets his lines or something because he says lines that I think he was meant to say, and he tries to get him in there, but he's very. Yeah, he just forgets his lines. It was just, it was kind of sloppy. But, I got the message, so I guess that's good. But, yeah, how'd you feel about this promo right here?
Jeff's not a good talker. He's never been a good talker. But fine babyface kind of promo where is obviously the match coming up, and pretty much the majority of 2008 is Jeff Hardy's chase for the title. So they're laying the groundwork here to start out with.
I mean, I guess for Jeff Hardy's standards, it's pretty good promo.
Yeah,
so that's all you can ask.
It was fine for what it was.
Then we had the next match, which can't believe this was a match. I'll let you talk. Maybe I'll let you talk about the match and the way we got here. But it's a tag match. It's Kane and CM Punk versus Big Daddy V and Mark Henry with Matt Striker. Talk about how we kind of got here. That's weird.
ECW champion CM Punk, and he takes the fall in this. Oh god. Okay, so SmackDown and ECW had the Superstar Exchange program at this time. I think that started in October. So they're big in this feud between Kane and Big Daddy V. The match everyone's clamoring to see. And now Mark Henry's in the mix. So
I always used to call them, weirdly enough, the two-man power. I didn't realize that was enough.
If they did or not.
But that wasn't the name, though. That wasn't the name.
Find me in the. So, Viscera's a bad wrestler. Mark Henry is fine if he's with the right people. He's not. Kane can get a 2-star match on anybody, and CM Punk is kind of stuck on an island here. There's a bear hug. There's clubbing blows, clotheslines. There's a double torture rack. It's bad. It's 10 minutes. And the ECW champion
I agree with this.
It's bad all around.
I think Punk tries the best he can. I think the reason Punk struggles too is he can't do any of his movesets because the guys are too damn big for him to do any of his movesets too. So it's like he's really limited here. This was just a terrible utilization of the. Go ahead.
Whoever saw Nelson Frazier and said this guy needs to wear this overalls
I hate to tell you
and no shirt.
It was.
They should go to jail.
My grandfather, when I first started watching wrestling,
Seriously, man, wear a shirt.
He would have me because I taped SmackDown. I think that one time. He would have me show people what Big Daddy V looked like. He's like, "Yeah, this is what Big Daddy V looked like," because it's just insane. Yeah.
I mean, he was a nice guy, from what I heard.
10 years will be dead next year, by the way.
Sadly
I
passed
don't know
away,
if you
but
but next year will be 10 years.
Good Lord, man, put on a shirt.
Yeah, this wasn't really all that good. 1 star. I then too. It sucks because it was a terrible utilization also of the ECW brand because instead of having Punk have a title match or something, this is what he does.
So just to go through what ECW has done for the last few months, they had Big Daddy V and CM Punk for 2 minutes in an ECW title match at pay-per-view, which ended by DQ.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had The Miz versus CM Punk. That wasn't really that good. And then Miz and Morrison versus CM Punk again, which is okay for an opener. Now you have this, where there's realistically only one ECW guy in this. I know Big Daddy V is technically on ECW, but let's face it, they wanted to build up Kane versus Big Daddy V. And everyone was like, no. We're not going to do that. The bad match. It's a combination of bad. It's not the worst I've ever seen of Big Daddy V. It's still him as King
this
Mabel.
is off topic, but one King Mabel match you say is
really
worse. Hey, you know how to get people to not talk to you if you don't want to talk to them. You just put that match on and then
I do. That was the way I got people to leave me
And
alone.
then we've done career retrospectives for
Any good?
all those
No.
people, so we don't need to talk about that. Next, we had Vicky Guerrero's backstage. She's in a wheelchair, so friendship was taken out by The Undertaker. She's setting up her office because she's anticipating that Edge is going to win the World Heavyweight Championship. And Edge comes in. He wants to make sure that she's doing good because, she's got like a neck injury and everything like that. And Vicky says she's doing fine. Edge talks about how tonight the culmination of this grand plan is going to come to an end. She talks about, how he's going to be fighting for her love and everything like that. And there's a key line that he says that ties into the main event where he says, tonight you're going to give me the strength of 3 men. Which, was a good line right there. And then he asks for a kiss, and they act like they're going to go in for a kiss, but instead Edge kisses Vicky Guerrero's hand. Because I think that we had seen them kiss before, but like you could kind of... You always knew this. I even knew this when I was a kid, that Edge was just using Vicky Guerrero because she was the SmackDown GM. It made all the sense in the world for him. And yeah, this was kind of like the start of their on-screen. This was the start of heel Vicky Guerrero. Overall, I like this segment. It was a good way to tie into the main event. Yeah. But yeah, overall, how did you feel about this segment right here?
For better or for worse. It was fine. Edge is a great weasel, and he was great in this. He was great in this segment, setting obviously he had the foreshadowing line of a strength three men.
I think too, Vicky Guerrero is still transitioning into the heel role because I think she's done the heel role before. I think, but this is kind of the first time she did it. She really did it on like a big stage because I know she did it last year and stuff like that, but she really wasn't a heel, I guess. So. Yeah.
Yeah, when she was with Chavo, she was doing the heel bit, but not like the Vicky.
By the way, because we're gonna talk about this later. I've always asked this, so
for better or worse.
Because Vicky was the GM of SmackDown, but what was the reason given? Because she was meant to be a replacement for Teddy Long at the time, but then when it was supposed to be until Teddy came back. How was Teddy just not GM anymore? I don't understand. How did that work?
Hey, he came back maybe because Edge was champion. He had influence and power, so he just kept Vicky as the role of
I don't know
GM and stuck Teddy Long as the person that pushed the wheelchair.
Because I just remember like Teddy comes back. He was supposed to be the GM after his heart attack, and then he just wasn't the GM anymore. And then he goes, I don't know, it was weird, but take us through Mr. Kennedy versus Shawn Michaels. How did we get here?
So Shawn Michaels coming off his feud with Randy Orton, now wants to take on a new challenger in Ken Kennedy, trying to get back his momentum, I'd say, because earlier this year he was Mr. Money in the Bank. He was pegged to be the guy to be the world champion. He gets hurt. It's not that serious, but he's already lost the Money in the Bank. Now Edge took his spot. He got suspended. So Ken Kennedy's just trying to build his way back.
The big thing of this feud was Shawn Michaels. Mr. Kennedy felt like Shawn Michaels was like politicking his way into the big spots, which was kind of cool because that's what he did in the '90s. So, So
Cyber Sunday.
This was a very good match right here. Kennedy actually dominates early. He targets the back of Shawn Michaels. Obviously, because Shawn Michaels has legitimate back issues. And then eventually Shawn Michaels starts to target the hand of Mr. Kennedy. He stomps it into the steps. And he really works over the hand. Yeah, it was really great. He then Kennedy throws Shawn Michaels back first into the ring post, back first into the apron. He hits a really cool backbreaker. He locks him into a half Boston Crab, but Shawn Michaels is able to get to the ropes. Shawn Michaels mounts a comeback. There's various times where Mr. Kennedy tries to go for some type of like flatliner, which would become his finish. I don't think it was quite his finish yet, but it was like but obviously this was in hindsight. It's his finisher later on. Shawn Michaels hits the elbow drop. Kennedy hits the spinning senton. I believe he called that the Kenton bomb, but I think that's when he does it off the turnbuckle. Yeah. And then Shawn Michaels kicks out of it. And then eventually Kennedy tries to go for the flatliner leg sweep move again. But Shawn Michaels counters it. And the finish was really great. Kennedy eventually is trading shots with Shawn Michaels. And the injury to his hand finally takes effect. And Shawn Michaels from out of nowhere hits a sweet chin music. And he beats Mr. Kennedy. This match was very good. I give it 3 3/4 stars. I think Shawn Michaels needed a win because he had just come off, losing to Randy Orton a couple of times. And Kennedy probably needed the win more, but I thought they made Kennedy look good in defeat. And, they played into his arm being injured. Or not his arm, but his hand being injured. So I thought they kind of booked themselves pretty well out of it. They got a pretty good feud out of this, too. I think Kennedy wins the last match on Raw of the year, and then they have the rematch at the go-home episode of the Rumble where Michaels wins that one. So... I don't think Kennedy came off looking bad for losing. So, I give it 3 3/4 stars. What'd you think?
I thought it was good. This is the... I've heard Kennedy talk about this in interviews where he kind of said that Shawn Michaels didn't really want to have problems working with him because Kennedy would he's a heel, so Kennedy be try to get away, and Shawn Michaels wanted him to feed into his offense and stuff like that or Kennedy would always cover up like how a boxer would, or try to block body punches instead of just taking it. I thought Kennedy's yell after Shawn Michaels stomped his hand onto the steps was hilarious. I had to rewind and watch that a few times. These are two pretty... It's obviously Shawn Michaels is one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He can get a great match out of a broom. And Kennedy is a decent wrestler. This was really good. 3.5 stars. And
yeah, I
definitely enjoyed the fact that we had one...
that doesn't happen much anymore, by the way. I'll just tell you that. It takes...
It's the end. Kick out.
A lot of their finishers, though, is like a DDT in the beginning. Everyone kicks out of one.
Super kick has become the DDT.
So, then Randy Orton gets interviewed. Todd Grisham is saying if you can get past Chris Jericho tonight, you'll have to face the winner of Jeff Hardy versus Triple H. And Randy Orton's just like, what do you mean if? I have defeated former world champions. He mentioned the statistic. I think it was it's obviously gone up since then because they've won other world titles. But he's taken out 3 former world champions, and if you combine the world title reigns, it was maybe 32 world titles. I think they said it was at this time. And he mentions that he's been around all this time while Jericho, hasn't been around. And he said that he's going to plant Jericho and potentially leave him out on a stretcher. Pretty good Randy Orton promo. This is when he first starts doing his Viper, what we know as now that gimmick nowadays, where he was pretty much into that gimmick by this point. So this was, this was really good stuff. So it was good. What do you think of this?
Yeah. It was good. So Randy's definitely embracing the new unhinged Viper character that he's doing now. It was a fine problem. He does get a little worse as time goes on, a little bit slower.
He is better now, actually. I know you haven't seen his work recently. He just came back recently. And obviously, he's rejuvenized. He's actually cut better promos, I would say, from 2020 up until right now, type of thing. He's been doing much better recently. So yeah. Obviously he's fresh at the moment too. We haven't seen him in 18 months, so that's why he feels fresh. So, then Yeah, next we have the Jeff Hardy versus Triple H, where the winner becomes the number one contender to the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble. Kind of take us through how we got here.
So at Survivor Series, these two were the sole survivors on the only traditional Survivor Series tag match
Yeah,
of
he
that
was.
show.
He was.
So William Regal decides, I think it was Regal, right? Was he GM at Raw at the time? Decided to make them compete in a number one contenders match for the Royal Rumble here on this show between Jeff Hardy and Triple H. And obviously, since this is a babyface versus babyface match, this is kind of like a respect your opponent kind of deal. Obviously, Triple H is coming in. He's at
You
this
might be
point, I
right,
think
yeah.
he was a 13-time
trying to
world
think.
champion.
It's
Over
tough because
13-time world
I want to
champion, I think,
say
at this point.
11 because what makes me forget because he has that one championship reign that lasted like one night by this time, so I don't know if that counts as the 12th one or not. Yeah.
It counts. He won the title and lost it within the night. And then Jeff Hardy's obviously, like we said earlier, is kind of positioning himself, trying to build himself up to be a main eventer.
And we should mention too, it wasn't true that Triple H and Jeff Hardy were the sole survivors. They were like the sole survivors and completely wiped out like everybody on that Survivor. Yeah, it was. So.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Was it 5-on-2? Yeah. It's not as bad as the burial the year before. Who was that? Mike Knox.
I don't think Mike Knox ever. I don't think to this day Mike Knox has ever recovered from that.
Oh, so good. So we're winning. Yeah. Okay. It's better than that.
That's gonna be a retro someday. You know that. So.
No. No, what a burial. Oh boy. That was so funny.
But yeah, going through the match,
the match is not good, but like
the big story they told in the match is because they're both baby faces. They try to make it seem like Triple H was the veteran because he's been in this spot before countless times and everything like that. While Jeff was, I don't want to say the rookie, but he's new to the main event scene and everything like that. So, yeah, the match starts out really well. They have a handshake and everything like that, but Triple H immediately goes in for a lockup. They kind of out wrestle each other. Triple H is obviously getting the better of Jeff Hardy because he's more of a powerhouse and everything like that. Jeff's getting little offense in there. One good moment is at one point Jeff Hardy has a chance to really go for a strike on Triple H, but he doesn't take it, and Triple H slaps him in the face to be like, "Come on, fight! You got this. You gotta want this," type of thing. And eventually, this kind of gets Jeff Hardy to get extra aggressive, and eventually he slaps Triple H in the face. One point on the outside, there's a botch. I think, anyways, it looked like a botch. It's tough to say if it was, because then they showed a replay, and usually if it's a botch, they wouldn't show a replay. But Jeff Hardy goes to go off the barricade, and he tries to do some type of like clothesline or something off the barricade, but he loses his footing, and he slips off the barricade, and good improvisation by Triple H here. Where he just lays him out with a clothesline to make it look like it was planned. But I don't know if it was planned or not because they show a replay, and typically if there's a botch, they don't show a replay. So, that's tough to say if it was a botch. What would you say? Do you think that was a botch, or do you think that was meant to happen?
Oof. I think it was meant to happen. I'm going to lean towards meant to. But Jeff's not.
There you go.
Jeff can be a little.
So yeah, Triple H dominates for a bit. He hits a really good, his typical high knee. The knee drop. Jeff Hardy keeps kicking out. The good storyline they tell is Jeff Hardy would get like an ounce of offense in, but he couldn't stick with it. So he would lay him out with his clothesline takedown. He went for his the leg drop thing he does in the corner, but he missed. And Triple H had more, he was more aggressive to try to get the win. He would try to go to pin anytime he had Jeff Hardy down. Meanwhile, Jeff Hardy, was more quick and he was trying to get quick offense. There's a twist of fate in the match. And Triple H, when he goes for the Swanton, Triple H Jeff Hardy misses, and Triple H goes for the cover, but he makes the mistake and does like a cocky cover, which allows Jeff to turn it over into like a backslide, which wasn't really a good idea. Jeff does the whisper in the wind. Triple H is the spine buster. Eventually, then Triple H goes for the pedigree, and Jeff Hardy counters it into a wall up, and he beats Triple H, and Triple H kicks out at like 3.1 recurring. Yeah, he kicked out a little too late, and I like Triple H's reaction here because he doesn't do like the typical pin when a heel gets pinned or something, where he gets all mad that he was surprised and all that type of stuff. Like Triple H is shocked, but he's like proud of the fact that Jeff Hardy got one by on him and all that type of stuff. So that was kind of like a really good storyline element there. Jeff Hardy celebrating, and I missed this because I checked my phone for a text, but I think Triple H gives him like a thumbs up or something, kind of showing him respect. So yeah, I thought this match was great. I gave it like, but I gave it 4 stars. I thought the storyline was great, and this is very significant because this is like the start of Jeff Hardy's year-long quest to the title. That WWE and Jeff Hardy made sure to tell that story because Jeff Hardy was supposed to tell. I think Jeff Hardy's Crown moment was supposed to come earlier, but things happen. But how did you feel about this match and everything like that?
I thought this was the best match in the show. I thought it told an excellent story. Jeff being the guy getting ready for prime time, and Triple H being the veteran in these matches, and kind of, I don't want to say he wasn't taking him seriously as a contender, but like he viewed himself as a level just a hair above Jeff. And Jeff was trying to fight for his chance in his moment, and he got his chance, he capitalized, and got the pin. I thought this was very good. I think their No Mercy match they had a year later is a bit better, but this is an excellent match. It gives Jeff a very important win, obviously because he's already over with the crowd anyway. But like, okay, we gotta take this guy seriously as a main eventer, and that's my dryer. Hold on. So they're gonna take him seriously as a main eventer, and it's a good win. The right guy won. Big thing right there. Right guy won this match. To build up Jeff for his excellent title match.
So you and I have reviewed the No Mercy match.
Which we have reviewed here on this
because we did that at Mass Soy.
Right.
And Casey and I reviewed the Rumble match. So yeah. Then next,
So yeah,
the Great Khali and Rudginson cut a promo backstage. Basically, what they say is that they're going to make Finlay pay for attacking the Great Khali and sparing Hornswoggle's life, pretty much. And he said that he's going to destroy him tonight. And he's going to finish where he left off with Hornswoggle. It's really tough to say if this is a bad promo, because London Sin doesn't cut the promo really all that bad, but Khali is... Yeah, I don't know if... It feels like... I feel like we're in a weird time, because I can't really say it's a bad promo, because I don't know what he's saying, but I feel like that's kind of racist, because it's... he's not speaking this...
He's just screaming incoherently into the mic. It's not good. And for a guy that can actually talk, he can actually speak. But
right.
It's kind of like the manga, where like
I didn't really
the guy
like
can
this.
speak, but he's supposed to be a savage, so he's not supposed to, talk. It's a Great Khali promo.
We had Finlay with Hornswoggle versus the Great Khali with London Sin. Talk about how we got here.
Great Khali match. Well, we're in the middle of the Vince illegitimate son angle. Vince is going to show him tough love, quote unquote, where they had a match at Survivor Series between the Great Khali and Hornswoggle, which ended by disqualification after 2 minutes after Finlay Rick came in and hit it with a shillelagh. Oh boy. Then we get to this match here. Basically, it's like Vince McMahon's always putting Hornswoggle in situations where he has to face off against Great Khali, including but not limited to a mini.
It would have been afterwards because it was a Royal Rumble. It was to queue him up for the.
Did
Royal
it happen
Rumble
before
match,
this pay-per-view or after? I know it's around this time period where they. Oh, okay. So I strike that, but I do remember that as They had a mini Kane. They had a mini Batista. I think they had a mini Mr. Kennedy.
This is random, but do you remember there's like an exclusive on WWE.com they had where
here we go.
I think it's Jillian Hall and somebody else thinking they're gonna go on a date with Batista and Kane, and they think it's like the real Batista and Kane, but then it ends up being the mini Batista and Kane.
Yeah. So Finlay tried his best. I think in this match he's trying his best. But Great Khali can't move. All he can do is chops, clotheslines, head squeeze.
Yeah, like this match is just really not the greatest. I think it's the same thing with the the ECW match where Finlay can't do one of his moves because he's limited because he can't really lift the Khali. Yeah, at least it was short. Yeah. I did like the story of the match. Where,
at least it was 6 minutes.
Finlay could finally get the win by hitting him with the shillelagh and everything like that, and they gave Finlay the win. And we can say we want about this match. That crowd went ballistic when Finlay actually won this match. Like they yeah. Mm-hmm. I still gave it like a star though. It wasn't good.
Because they weren't.
And the good thing about this match is you could definitely see that the Khali's push was becoming lessened in the company because a few months ago he was world champion. Now he's in kind of a meaningless match here. So, this is like when Finlay turns babyface, and I don't really think it ever truly really worked. I think he should have stayed heel.
No, Finlay's never. Dave Finlay's not a babyface. Not in the ring. Outside the ring, he is. But
and then the only career retrospective we have to do is for London Sin. Pretty much after this, after he's done managing the Great Khali, he manages him up until 2011, and then he comes back one more time with him as like a special appearance, and then mainly he transitioned backstage in like 2014-ish, maybe 2020-ish, to doing like behind the scenes work, and then he was released earlier this year for no reason. So not this year, 2022, he was released for no reason. Mm-hmm. So, well, they gave a reason. It was pandemic cuts, but I don't know if you ever heard about there was basically people they cut just because they didn't want them anymore. So they used the pandemic as the reason, type of thing. So.
Yeah.
Okay, there you go. See, you know what you're going on, even though you don't,
Even though they had record profits.
I
know.
Then we had the next match. It was a WWE Championship match. It was Randy Orton defending against Chris Jericho. How do we get here? It's
Randy Orton, the night after Survivor Series, celebrating the fact that he defeated Shawn Michaels, is the greatest world champion. Era of Orton has just begun. Yada yada yada. Here comes they've been running these promos, the save us, little messages, which everyone knows Chris Jericho. And I think the clip has showed up of his return, like this particular return. So he came back and said, like, I'm here to save us from you, Randy Orton. I'm coming for the World Heavyweight Championship. So it becomes the number one contender. This is his first big pay-per-view match in 2 years, going against Randy Orton for the WWE Championship. Still kind of doing the same shtick that he was before he left. We're a few months away from his best character work. I think
what was what was good about this is
that's how
I feel like you kind of had to have this version of Chris Jericho just because like everyone had seen him in a while, and I feel like they had to build to that turn. Without this run, I think we talked about this. I don't actually, maybe I've never talked about this. Jericho was always considered like a legend and everything like that. But I don't really think it was up until like he has that best in the world gimmick. I think, he was just kind of, everyone liked him and thought about a lot about him, but that character work is what really put Jericho into like that greatest of all time like category type of thing. But yeah, we had this match here.
Yeah.
Jericho dominates early. He beats up Orton. He goes to do his Jericho-like dropkick. And Randy Orton moves out of the way thinking that he's outsmarted Jericho. But instead he hits a dive from the top turnbuckle onto the outside. He throws him back first into the apron. And then eventually Orton starts to dominate. He gets a front-face suplex into the ropes. It's really weird because Randy Orton, even though like he's been around forever, he doesn't have a lot of the moveset that he has like nowadays in this match. He doesn't do the Orton stomps. He doesn't do the draping DDT. But he's still, he does a lot of moves. He does a lot of headlocks, and he does a really good suplex in this match. He has a really good neck break in this match. Jericho mounted another comeback, and this time he is able to hit the Jericho-like drop kick. And eventually the finish comes, pretty much close to it, where they fight over the announcer's table, and Randy Orton throws Chris Jericho over the SmackDown announcer's table, and he inadvertently hits JBL. And, JBL kind of has, like, this look on his face, like, he wasn't happy about this. And they continued this. Jericho's kind of fighting off Orton, and during this, he shoves JBL. To kind of get to Randy Orton. He was kind of, because JBL was kind of in the way. But, JBL still kind of has a weird look on his face. And then the match continues. Eventually, Jericho locks Orton into the walls of Jericho. And, the big thing that happens on the Go Home episode of Raw before this, Orton had tapped out to this move, so everyone was thinking, he was clearly going to win the title. I should admit too, Jericho hits the Lion Salt in this match, and it's really weird to think this. Everyone bought into that was a near fall, because even though he just started doing the code breaker, this was when it was still kind of like his main finish. Like nowadays, I know you haven't watched a Jericho match in a while. When Jericho hits a Lion Salt nowadays, no one buys it as a finish anymore. So, but yeah, it's what? Yep. So Jericho pulls Orton away from the ropes when it looks like he's about to make it,
and who's ever going to lose to that?
Either Orton's going to pass out or tap out. It looks like pretty apparent that he's going to win the title here. Then JBL, who left commentary, gets up from behind and big boots Jericho in the back of the head. And I will give props. They do a good job of like making this a surprise because obviously the cameras do a good job of not filming like the SmackDown area type of thing. So they do a pretty decent job with that. And JBL is pissed about this. He walks off, and then Randy Orton realizes how lucky he was that he was able to retain the title. And afterwards, though, just for good measure, he lays out Jericho with an RKO and walks away and holds up the title. And yeah, I thought this match was very good. I gave it 3 3/4 stars. Very good back and forth match. I don't know if I love the finish, because what sucks about this is there's never a rematch to this. A big thing Randy Orton would always say is that he conquered all these people, and then he didn't conquer Chris Jericho. Like, he never actually beats Jericho, like, at all in this title reign. It's very weird. I would have preferred JBL, behind the ref's back or something, take a cheap shot or something, so that way Orton could have cheated to get the win. But yeah, this was just kind of weird. And I feel like had the heel run not happened, this kind of like lessened Jericho's comeback a little bit. I think they were kind of in a tough spot, like we mentioned, because Jericho just came back, so they didn't want him to lose. And then Orton was still in the title reign, they didn't want to lose the title. And this was kind of the best way to do that. Plus, Raw was lacking star power because a lot of people got fired and other things like that, so they needed to get JBL over to Raw. So that's kind of what happened. But yeah, I give it 3 3/4 still. Well, I don't know why else they brought him back in the ring. That's the only reason I can come up with.
Our power Bradshaw.
But But yeah, how did you feel about this match and the finish and everything like
We
that?
need another top heel, I guess. But it was good. It was good. I've seen better out of both. As for the finish, and I said this, we said this earlier with the MVP count out loss. It feels kind of redundant that we have two blatant false finishes on the show with like a DQ non-finish match, and I don't think there was anything wrong if what you said earlier, if JBL hit Jericho from behind or distracted him, which led to an RKO and Orton winning because Orton's this feud's a one and done. You're establishing that earlier with the number one contenders match before this. So Orton gets a win. Jericho now goes in the feud with JBL. Especially since, and reason why I didn't really like this title reign. I didn't like the title reign back then, but I was 11. I don't like it now. Is that it had this very annoying pattern where Orton retains by DQ, maybe he definitively wins the next period. DQ, definitive finish. DQ, definitive finish. And then he loses the title at Backlash.
Yep.
He got disqualified against Shawn Michaels where he nailed him right in the crotch. He beat Shawn on the Survivor Series. You have this match here where he wins by DQ because JBL interferes. He beats Hardy by pinfall at a great spot with the Twist of Fate. And then he gets disqualified against Cena. It's just... It feels like it's the same kind of tricks where Orton's kind of just weaseling his way out of, these wins. I mean, if you just want to do a cheap finish, again, have a distraction. Or have him trip him up in the ropes. You can do that instead, and I think that would have been a better finish. Instead, you have two non-finishes with championships that you don't want to change hands because you feel you booked yourself in the corner. Jericho's not going to get affected by the loss because he's already established. He's a main eventer. You're trying to... This is Orton's second main run after his first one failed miserably. Ended up working out, I know, but it's just something that annoys me. I hate disqualifications in world title matches. It's fine if you do it once in a while to...
So, yeah, that's the one thing actually that's been good about
every other pay-per-view.
The WWE under the Triple H regime is he actually doesn't do DQ finishes all that often. Like every match, for the most part, ends not completely cleanly, but there'll always be a way to end it where everybody kind of looks good coming out of it. Yeah, so that's good things. AEW's been pretty good about that. Also,
looking for.
So I think that's one good thing. That's kind of I'm glad this template is gone from the wrestling business. It would have been nice if this was here because nowadays, because back then I think we talked about this. I mean, I know you probably don't like me keeping up about this, but people are paying money like $35, $50 just to see non-finishes. I feel like it lessens your pay-per-view buys because if you keep doing pay-per-view ratings where there's non-finishes, then no one's gonna buy. Yeah. Then it shows an ad for the Royal Rumble 2008. It's that famous Subway ad. That's probably one of my favorite WWE commercials of all time. I still love my favorite image is Michael Buffer about to announce let's get ready to Rumble, and Shawn Michaels comes in and super kicks him and he just goes, just shrugs it off. So that's good.
I just love it when Umaga is coming in. He just sits down and
it was awesome.
Going into the city, and then the door closes, and then he starts going mad.
Yeah, maybe Vestas wasn't available for the commercial at the time, so.
Where the bell rings when he comes
He's not in a live match, but he's on the show.
He's on the show.
It's so hard to believe that was Luke Gallows back then. It doesn't even.
It's on the show. Or Luke Gallows.
Yeah. But next, we were supposed to have the women's championship match, but Jillian Hall comes out and interrupts it, and they had just released a Christmas album at this time. I think we talked about this in the last retro that we did together. This Christmas album that happened, I think. Didn't you say you have it or no? Or you've listened to it or something? I'm pretty sure you said that.
Yeah, they had a Christmas album.
So she comes up.
I've heard it. It's not good.
I
rather listen to Joe Pesci's
she comes out,
album.
she talks about, how this Christmas album is like #1 downloaded on iTunes, which is crazy to think that iTunes was a thing back then. Was iTunes just becoming like a thing back then? Or was it like a...
Yeah. I think that's when it started to take off.
But yeah, she talks about, how she's outsold all these music artists and everything like that. And she wants to give, the fans, a special preview of this Christmas album, She feels like, she talked about, too, it has, rave reviews and everything like that. She actually mentions, a review that happened that I'm pretty sure was made up. I don't think it was, a legitimate review. But again, I don't know. You like what you like, right? And she sins. It's really bad. But the commentary is really good for this. This is the last time you had Joey Styles on commentary. They just put the mics back up and everything like that. JR and Ken were saying that they should trade Jillian Hall to ECW so that way Joey Styles and Taz have to listen to her every week. It was really funny. And she gets interrupted by Mickie James and she just leaves. She doesn't get any comeuppance or anything like that. I guess So, yeah. Let me get this straight, though. Because I know you're probably thinking I'm overthinking this.
Get beat up.
She wasn't booked in a match on this show, so she and WWE, they don't pay for flights or anything like that. So she booked a flight, she booked a hotel and everything just to come on this show and hype up a Christmas album. What are you doing? Okay. Anything you want to say about Jillian Hall, her appearance?
That's all she did. Comedy bad singing.
There you go.
He got one good joke out of it in a whole year of gimmick.
Oh, yeah.
That was when Mick Foley said, I thank God that I lost.
Then we had the women's champion. Oh, go ahead.
That's it. One decent laugh.
It's,
Here come...
Yeah. It's, Beth Phoenix defending
women's
against,
championship match. Here come
Mickie
the women.
James. Kind of talk about how we got here.
I think Mickie James won a #1 contenders match. Beth Phoenix is... These are two really good wrestlers. They're just given no time at all and not a lot of effort. I'm glad to see that nowadays there's care and there's actual, effort given into the women's division. Because back then, right around this time, this was the, all right, I gotta get up, stretch my legs, head to the bathroom, get my concessions, the cool-off match. That was consistently what these are, and it's a shame. These are two really good wrestlers.
Someone actually had a sign that said, get my gear match, and he was holding it up during the whole match, pretty much, so, But I actually liked this from what the time that they had. They tried to make the most of the time. Beth Phoenix won with the Northern Lights suplex. But yeah, the match was really quick. It's about 6 minutes, I would say. Let me see. Let me check the time on Wikipedia. Actually, it's no, it's 4 minutes and 45 seconds.
6 minutes, yeah.
But from what they put into this, it was good. I think Mickie James hit a pretty good missile drop kick in it.
Yeah, I didn't get 5 minutes.
I feel bad for these women because if this match would have translated so much better nowadays, I kind of remember this was a pretty big feud in the Ruthless Aggression post women's era. They kind of had this go on, and you kind of think about it, it's pretty sad because this is probably the last feud that really happens for the women's division, where it's two actual wrestlers that go against each other for a little bit. So it's I mean, we're out of that phase where it's the bra and panty matches, I guess. So that was a step, but it's like, I hate to say it, like, go ahead.
Yeah,
Yeah.
still not good. I mean, we still have another 10 years until we get to
At least
the
it sucks
Women's
Beth Phoenix,
Revolution.
like,
Even
this
then,
she was
that
really
started
ahead
off
of her time.
poorly, but
I could say Mickey James was too, but at least she's been back and stuff since then. She's been doing stuff like an Impact, and she's been at least in the business since then. So but Beth Phoenix, it really sucks. She was really ahead of her time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then it shows a WrestleMania 24 ad. It was
That's
good.
a shame. Lion shame.
The retro for that's on this show. Jeff Beecham makes his appearance on this channel, actually.
Underrated Mania, right there. I think
Then we had the main event. It was for the World Heavyweight Championship.
yes,
It was
because he was there.
Batista defending the belt against Edge and The Undertaker. Why don't we kind of talk about how we got here?
So, Batista won the title at Unforgiven against the Great Khali. And Undertaker had made his return to the show. Well, they had an unfinished feud from May. Obviously, they had the match. They had the great match at WrestleMania. They had two straight non-finishes. Taker gets hurt. He's off for 6 months. Batista's building up back momentum to win back his title. So they have a great match at Cyber Sunday, which Batista wins, and then they're going to have the rematch in Hell in a Cell at Survivor Series. It looks like Taker's going to win. He's going to win the world title after a tombstone on the steel steps. But suddenly, referee's pulled out by a cameraman. Except it's not a cameraman. It's Edge. Comes in, beats up Undertaker with a chair, and costs Taker the match against Batista. And it's been revealed, since Edge has been recovering from his surgery that he had back in July, that him and Vicky Guerrero were starting to see each other. Have a little bit of a relationship, which leads to Edge being inserted into this triple threat match between Batista, The Undertaker, and obviously Edge. And Vicky Guerrero is putting these guys in matches leading up to this pay-per-view to weaken them. I think Batista had a last man standing match against Kane on SmackDown, and it's main evented with Undertaker versus Big Daddy V and Mark Henry. That was actually a show I was there live for. I remember that off the top of my head. And that's how we get here.
The match starts out. Undertaker and Batista are just gutting for Edge. And obviously Edge has this worried look on his face because, he's made an enemy out of both these guys. So the beginner portions, he doesn't even get into the ring. And Undertaker and Batista go at it. Batista fights him off. He clotheslines Taker out of the ring. And Taker kind of uses this opportunity to go after Edge. And this is a really great moment where, like, Batista and Undertaker are both going after Edge, but they're trying to pull him out of the ring, but it's like they attack each other because they don't really want to work together. They want to be the ones that take Edge out themselves. Eventually Undertaker throws Batista into the barricade. Taker's still trying to get his hands on Edge. He gets a little bit of offense in on him, but eventually Edge is able to get away. Taker and Batista go back at it. Taker hits the leg drop with, from the apron with Batista against the apron. Batista sells it really well, too, because typically he, falls and, it looks like the light's been taken out of him, which was a really good sell. And then Edge gets some offense in. He hits a spear, sending Taker to the floor, into the barricade, and then Edge goes after the leg of Batista. And there's one good moment where, Undertaker goes for the leg drop on Edge, and Batista lays him out with a clothesline, which was cool. There's another good moment where Taker has Edge in trouble with a choke slam, and Batista inadvertently saves Edge by laying him out with a drop kick, which was good. Edge dominates for a bit. He hits spears on both men, but he doesn't get the pinfall. Eventually, Taker fights off Edge. Taker locks Batista in the triangle choke. And Edge doesn't physically want to get in and break up the submission because then he would have to face The Undertaker one-on-one. But he has to break it up because then he won't win the title. So Edge rings the ring bell. And the referee is confused because he doesn't even see Edge go ring the ring bell. He thinks the timekeeper did. And Taker thinks he's won because the bell rang. He thinks Batista's passed out. But that's not the case. And Edge uses this opportunity to lay out Taker with the spear. But he doesn't get the pinfall. He lays out Batista with the spear. Doesn't get the pinfall. He goes for the concerto. But Batista fights it off. Taker clotheslines Edge out of the ring. And then Batista and Undertaker go at it. Batista lays out Undertaker with the spine buster. And then Edge goes off the top turnbuckle and Batista lays him out with a spear. Something's going on here, though, because the camera pans over, and it wasn't Edge, because we see the actual Edge out there, and we see that this is like a clone. This is someone that's dressed up to look like Edge. So Michael Cole... I forgot to mention, by the way, Taz is on commentary for this match for JBL, because JBL's walked off, so it's just Michael Cole and Taz. Which is cool, because we haven't heard them together on commentary since, Taz left SmackDown, so, it was cool. And I don't know if you know this... Nowadays, they don't really get along anymore. So, like, I believe that this is the last time they ever commentate a show together. So that was cool.
Yeah, I've heard.
But then Taker mounts a comeback. He hits Batista with a choke slam, and then he hits a last ride on Edge. But that's not Edge either. There's two Edges out there. And there's a great commentary call where Edge is just crawling. And Michael Cole's just like, wait, Edge just crawled by Edge. Like, Michael Cole doesn't know what's going on. And Taz is just ignoring this. He's trying to just call down the match. But Michael Cole's, like, really trying to figure out what's going on here. But eventually, Undertaker hits a tombstone on Batista. And he's about to go for the cover. And Edge sneaks into the ring. He hits a steel Undertaker on the spine with a steel chair. He covers Batista, and he becomes the new World Heavyweight Champion. Undertaker and Batista are perplexed because they realize they're in play, but they don't really also understand what's going on because they thought they neutralized Edge. They thought they, that they took care of him, but they see that there's like 3 Edges on the stage. And this was that tie-in earlier where Edge mentioned he's going to have the strength of 3 men because Edge did. Who were these men? We would find out on SmackDown. These would go on to be what we knew at the time as the Major Brothers. I think it was Brett and Brian Major, who we now know, and they would become Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder. Obviously, this would become the starting stages of forming the La Familia faction on SmackDown. This was it was pretty much halfway complete by this point. I know that's not how math works. I know but they only needed I guess technically 2 more people, but one of them doesn't even join the faction all that long. He's out of the faction pretty damn quickly. But but yeah, this was good. If you know the behind the scenes, the Major Brothers were really struggling as a tag team. I think they were very close to being future endeavored, and this saved Kurt Hawkins and Zack Ryder's wrestling careers pretty much. This is kind of what got them the big break and everything like that. And, without this, in a weird way, Zack Ryder, who knows where he would have been in the wrestling business, So, this ended up saving their careers, and it ended up helping out, that they looked like Edge, This was pitched by Edge, and really cool. I really like this. I give the match 4 stars. It's really like a 3 3/4 star match, but the storyline really makes this match the 4-star match. Just Edge being that wisely heel, and it's really weird. You wouldn't really see a match done this way really anymore, because everything's all about moves and everything like that. It made Edge look really smart and really calculated, and because Edge couldn't really have his comeuppance yet, because he was still a long way from Mania, and this was the perfect way to kind of keep Undertaker and Edge from not hitting each other. So yeah, I thought they did this great. I give it 4 stars.
Yeah.
The match of the night for me is probably the Hardy match, but this is like the thing I enjoyed the most, just because of how the storyline and everything like that. But yeah, how did you feel about this and seeing the breakout careers of Hawkins and Ryder and everything like that?
So, Hardy and Triple H was the best wrestling match on the show. This was the most sports entertaining match on the show. Edge's, this is probably Edge's in the middle of Edge's best work, I think, as the ultimate opportunist. The I'm gonna outsmart you kind of way, because I'm not gonna outpower Batista. I'm not gonna outpower the Undertaker. I'm just gonna outsmart him. And obviously, it's a great story with the two edge heads, and I thought this great. I thought this made Edge look like a smart chicken shit heel. And obviously, these guys will go their separate ways. Obviously, Edge is going to face Bray at the Rumble. Batista and Taker are going to be in the Rumble to go for the world title. I thought this was a great way to get the title back on Edge and kind of rebuild him up as the main event heel champion going into WrestleMania. I really enjoyed this. I'm going to give it 3 3/4. I do think this is what puts it in the I would recommend going back and watching this show. Because you had this really good, and Hardy and Triple H is really good, and those are the two main pillars of this show, and those are the two matches that people were sold on to buy the show. But those delivered. Overall, I'm going to give the show a B minus. Because you still have the 2 lame finishes, 2 really bad matches, and a couple of okay ones. But
and you also have Kennedy and Michaels,
which
really
definitely do prop up
too,
the show.
That's awesome. I give this like a solid B. Really solid show. Right, I talk about this now. This is gonna seem weird, but WWE's been better about it lately. The great thing about this show, I mean, I could have through this in 2.5 hours. It's 2.5 hours, and that's it. You're done for the night. Nowadays, AEW pay-per-views are like, if you include the pre-show and if you watch the media scrum afterwards, they're like 5.5 hours type of thing. It's like, yeah, that's not for you. I'm pretty sure you went to All Out. Like, didn't you come over for All Out? I think the 2021 one. I mean, you didn't saw the whole pay-per-view, but you were probably I think it was pretty late at night, right? Like, and it was still what? I think there was still 4 matches left on the show.
I came in halfway through. Yeah, I came in. They just did the cage match, and I'm like, all right, so we must be close to the end of the show. I'm like, oh no, we still got another 5 matches to go, and the media scrum act. What? Oh. The reason why I left WWE in the first place is because WrestleMania 35 was 7 damn hours. So I'm like, I don't have time.
I don't know if you know about this. AEW did 2 pay-per-views in the same week, cool, like not the same week, but back to back in a week. They were both 7.5 hours. It's like, I know my job is supposed to be to try to get you into AEW, but it's like I'm not doing a very good job. I'm not gonna lie to you about it type of thing,
Not doing a good job. Yeah,
they're both $50.
2 shows within a week. They're 7.5 hours, and in curiosity, how much?
Yeah, there was no bundle deal or anything like that. You could get if you bought one, you got the other for free. No, they were both $50
for 14 hours. Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you, I didn't do.
Yep, gotta pay for both. No. It felt like what WWE did with I think it's Survivor Series '92.
Yeah.
Where they had Survivor Series, and then they had another pay-per-view that Tuesday called This Tuesday in Texas, and that bombed too. So I don't know why.
I mean, I feel like
it.
WWE can get away with
Not
it
a good
more
idea.
because they have the network. You're not doing that type of stuff.
That's
so.
dumb. That's really dumb.
Not even anymore. Yeah.
Exactly. You only paid $9, so not even.
Wow.
Not even. I mean,
But anyhow,
I'm paying 50 cents.
yeah, that's pretty much. We're just rambling now. Yeah, that was this pay per view.
Because it came with the X-Family package.
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the last retro of the year.
Yeah.
I think John made you watch. I don't know when you're going to be back on this channel again, John. You're probably who knows. You're on that Undertaker WrestleMania. Oh, I forgot. There's one final career retrospective I have to do. I want because it's weird. It's an updated one because Edge. I have to say Punk's now back in WWE. Well, I guess I already kind of said that, but Edge is now out of WWE. I think you knew this. He's in AEW now, and he's not Edge anymore. He's Adam Copeland now, which is just still surreal to me to this day. Yep. So I haven't gotten used to it yet either. I do my shows, and I'm like, I can't say Edge anymore, and now I'm gonna.
Is it like the I think it was Hardcore Justice. They brought in Balls Mahoney, but they couldn't call him Balls Mahoney. They had to call him Cojones. And Taz couldn't help. I think he said like balls, like it's like.
So there was one time actually in
like
AEW, and then one in the
by today.
you will do our plugs and everything.
Cojones.
Jim Ross has a tendency a lot because of his age now. He gets a lot of things wrong nowadays. There's been a couple of times. One time he called AEW Dynamite WWE Dynamite, and then another time he accidentally called the AEW World Championship the WWE World Championship.
Have it.
Yeah, poor J.O. I don't know if you've heard his recent commentary work. It's so bad he can only commentate one match per show now. That's how bad it is. He can't even commentate a whole show anymore. How'd you?
At this point,
You've been kind of ignoring it. How'd you feel about the commentary?
Just hang on.
I mean, there's 4 commentary teams, but how'd you feel about the commentary?
At this point, it's just sad. Fine, standard.
There you go.
It has not gotten to the point where I have to mute the pay-per-view. I can't recall when that. I think probably heel Michael Cole was the start of that. When I had to start muting the commentary because it was so bad. But obviously JR and King are good together. I think obviously you know how I feel about Bradshaw. I love him as a commentator. This version of JBL, not what he became 10 years down the line, but this.
And that's at the end of that, by the way. We didn't mention that. This is the end of that era of JBL as a commentator.
He's a great heel commentator, and Mike Cole's fine.
And then, because you said you watched SummerSlam. How do you feel about hearing Michael Cole nowadays? Because you've had to hear him now out of the Vince bubble type of thing now. Like, do you like him better? Do you the same?
Oh no, he's good. Like Michael Cole without the restrictions is good at his job. People are still gonna crap on him because he still has the stench of what do we call 15 years of being the lead guy, being the main guy. Pretty much he's been the guy, the main commentator for Raw.
So there you go. So yeah, I think we're in the show. It's really weird. I know the answer, but I have to ask anyways. Maybe you got something coming up. Is there anything you want to plug or promote? But I know the answer pretty much. Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. Check out this channel. We're going to be doing WWE Aftershock, covering everything from this week, the Go Home Week of NXT Deadline. And then check out AEW Spark. We'll be covering everything AEW related. There's only going to be a few more shows in general this year after the holiday. Well, during the holidays, Christmas and New Year's, we're going to take a 2-week break and then come back. And, really refresh the show and everything like that. So make sure you check that out. Check out my non-wrestling channel on the Talkinator. That will be coming back also around that time. And then, that's pretty much it. Thank you guys for watching this. And since this has been recorded in the past, I will talk to you guys in the future.
Cheese.